Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Showdown. So last time the past couple times we've been playing a lot of different singles metagames, but this time I want to kind of focus more so on a doubles metagame, in particular the latest event tournament being done in Sword and Shield, that being Tiny Tourney, as you can see here. Basically, what it is a doubles metagame in which you are only allowed to use the first form of a Pokemon that has multiple evolutions, such as like a Squirtle or uh, like Sneasel. There's I don't think like Meltan is allowed or any of the Ultra Beast, like not Ultra Beast, but well technically Poipole is one, but I don't know if that's classified as sub legendary or legendary since it is an Ultra Beast. But basically, if it has a multiple evolutions, you're only allowed to use the lowest form of said Pokemon. So this is my team for Tiny Tourney. First up is going to be our lead for pretty much every game that we play. It'll be Litten with Eject button and Intimidate. Uh, Intimidate and Eject button is really good combination. Because you could use something like Fake Out, get the immediate, at least get some damage out before something attacks you. Eject button can bump you out. You can switch right back into it with Intimidate and get a double Intimidate off. That being said, I also have Parting Shot, so that we could also drop the attack even more, as well as get some special attack drops alongside of that. And then just for some attacking options, I went with Flare Blitz and Leech Life. Flare Blitz, Flare Blitz because it's stab, which is the same type attack bonus, provides a 1.5 times boost to the power of the move, which bumps up Flare Blitz a ton. Even though Litten's attack isn't very good, even by the standards of this metagame, it's actually kind of average at 65. But and then Leech Life just for the recovery, since we aren't running something like leftovers or using a check button. I used max speed and max special defense with a careful nature, which is plus special defense, lower special attack. I went with going for a more special defensive set because a lot of the strongest Pokemon in the metagame are special attackers outside of like Sneasel. So I feel like using a more special defensive oriented set, as well as being kind of fast, since Litten's on the faster side, surprisingly, with a base 70. In fact, I actually think it beats Incineroar. Yeah, it is faster than Incineroar. So, like, Litten does have a lot of potential there. So, but I also did more speed just so we can outspeed opposing Litten. We won't be able to outspeed like Sneasel, even natural, even with as much boost. I don't think so. It'd just be a good thing to have against opposing Litten as opposed to our own Litten, as opposed to like Sneasel and other fake out users. Porygon. With the set, I went for a slow analytic set with Assault Vest. Icy Wind just for a decent spread move as well as the speed drops, which sure works against Analytic, which it gives you a 1.3 times power to your attacks if you are the last move in a turn. It may cause us to be faster than some Pokemon, but like so I guess just to go over the EVs real quick, I do have a Quiet Nature, which is minus speed and plus special attack. So we do have that to go off of that could drop our speed down to 40 as well as do it 0 IVs in speed. Discharge just in hopes of paralysis. Swift, it is a stab move that is also spread. As well as it's 60 is a decent power. It's not great, but at the same time, it's a Porygon's best stab move it has is Dry Attack, which even then it's not an amazing base power, only at 80. So I went with Swift mostly for just the perfect accuracy as well as it being a spread move. And lastly, Shadow Ball for Pokemon such as Galarian Corsola, as well as the Psychics that are going to be going around. So, like I said, we're going for a especially defensive bulky set with max HP and max special attack, and like I said, a Quiet Nature to buff that special attack a little more, and then just a little bit of investment into special defense just to give it a little bit more of a boost. Next is Sneasel with Inner Focus to prevent from being flinched by opposing Sneasel or Littens, as well as a Focus Sash just in case we don't lead with Sneasel. It can take a hit from something like Close Combat or Brick Break from an opposing Sneasel. That being said, Brick Break is used for Sneasel. It is used for Porygon. It could even be used for something like Rufflet. But with that, you would probably use Icicle Crash, which also provides stab, and is actually a much stronger move, even without the stab boost. Icicle Crash is just used there for stab as well as for flying types and dragons. Foul Play is there for like I said, like Porygon with Shadow Ball is there for Galarian Corsola and Abra and other psychics. Because I have a feeling that like Solosis, Abra, and like a few other, maybe like Gothita, could be floating around there. So we went with a max HP in hopes that not need to use Focus Sash as often, so we can hopefully take another hit or two. And then with max attack with a Adamant Nature to boost our attack just a little bit more, and then just the tiny bit that we have remaining, putting it into speed. So you might be thinking, why go for speed when why not go for speed? Well, I mean, look at these Pokemon. So like Litten here, base 70 speed, even at the 252, Litten is only at 122 speed. Let's compare that to Sneasel with only 4 EVs. It is still 136, which is still faster. Even if we don't, it's still faster. We can even do this by boosting it 134. We're still faster naturally, unless we dropped our speed IVs. So we're always faster than a Lit, which is good. So we can always fake out it. Porygon, even at max speed, we are still gonna outspeed by a lot. So basically, anything under a base 70 speed, a base 70 or lower, we will always outspeed. So something like Cleffa, Rufflet, Abra, we won't be able to naturally outspeed. But there's a lot of other Pokemon that we will always outspeed, regardless of how much investment we have. And like I said, there's at least the added bonus from Brick Break that we can potentially take out other Sneasel who aren't investing in like defense or HP. Cleffa, kind of a surprising pick, I know. But I kind of wanted to use Cleffa as more of a pseudo Clefairy with Friend Guard and Eviolite. Which, I mean, it really isn't all that helpful because, I mean, like, look at these abysmal stats. Base 28 defense. However, the base 55 special defense is actually really good, which is why I decided to go with max HP, and most of what we had left into special defense, I did boost the physical defense just a little bit in hopes to survive from stuff like Steel Wing from Rufflet or something like that. And then Icy Wind just for a utility move, and so we actually had an attack on Cleffa because it doesn't really learn many good moves. Protect just to keep it on the field just a little bit longer, and to get the most out of Friend Guard, which allies have 3/4 damage from other Pokemon attacks. Wish in hopes to get the passive recovery from Wish's 50% HP restoration, and Reflect to hopefully boost this atrocious defense stat. Next up, we have Rufflet, which I'm using as a sheer force life orb all-out attacker, using close combat to take on Sneasel and Porygon, U-turn to take on Abra and even Sneasel or other dark types. Crush Claw, just so I had a stab move that was being boosted by sheer force. You actually get more out of using sheer force Crush Claw than you would something like Facade, unless you had a status, which in double status isn't as common as you would find it in singles. And then Rock Slide for opposing Rufflet. And that's pretty much the reason why I have it. That and because it's also boosted by sheer force. That being said, we do have max attack as well as a max center speed with a Jelly Nature. Despite the fact that we don't outspeed a Sneasel, but we don't need to outspeed. We probably will need to outspeed Sneasel, to be completely honest, but we should at least be able to outspeed just about every other offensive threat. Like Litten, unless it is a it's running Jolly. Then yeah, I went with the max attack just to get the most out of Life Orb Sheer Force, and then just a little bit of extra HP. Just because our defensive stats are identical, so it doesn't really matter. If it would be more useful to boost the HP to get just a little bit out of both, rather than boosting one and only getting extra 8 out of 1. Lastly, Choice Specs Abra with Magic Guard. This could probably be switched into Inner Focus, which I might actually use instead. You may think Magic Guard would probably be better just to protect from a burn from something like Flamethrower or Paralysis. Or Paralysis really wouldn't matter, but they're just random status afflictions that may happen, or confusion from something. But Inner Focus, we could at least be immune to flinching, which I feel like is probably going to be more prevalent and useful to have an immunity to than it would be to stuff like Toxic. Our moves: Dazzling Gleam, Swift, Psychic, Energy Ball. Dazzling Gleam it's the only fairy move I have. It's actually the only fairy move I really have access to outside of one, which is Cleffa with Play Rough. And who's going to use Play Rough on a Pokemon with a base attack of 25? Yeah, so as you can see, Play Rough is the only thing it has. Like, there's like Disarming Voice, which could be useful since it does hit it hits both foes. It probably could be better, but than Icy Wind. But again, Icy Wind at least has that added bonus of dropping speed. Disarming Voice does not. And I also went with Swift for the same reason as Porygon. It's a decent spread move. And I feel like going for more spread rather than going for something of just higher power is more useful, just because you would be able to take on more opponents at one time. In a metagame that has so many weak and frail Pokemon, that you could be able to more easily take out a weaker threat. Multiple weaker threats, I should say. Psychic, just for stab, plus it's the only Psychic move we are using, as you can see here. And Energy Ball, which again, it's just another utility move that is going to be used for the rare occasion that we may come across a ground type or a rock type. As well as just in general, if the opposing team has nothing to really resist grass, which is going to be kind of rare since grass is one of the highest, if not the highest. I think bug might actually be the most resisted. It may actually be tied with grass, but it is one of the most resisted types, so it really doesn't matter. But using Energy Ball, we could at least still get some decent utility out of it. Max speed, and then max special attack with boosted into with a modest nature. You said I didn't I didn't use a boost into speed mainly because I mean it's just the same as Sneasel. We outspeed everything without investment, unless Sneasel is the only exception if it does have some investment. But other than that, we outspeed just about everything that would be common in the metagame already. So boosting the speed really doesn't matter in the end. And that being said, that is our team that we are going to be taking throughout the tiny tourney. So once we get into the game, we can be able to see it into action. Here we already are. It is going to be Scraggy, Sneasel, Skorupi, Magnemite, Tanklet, Spritzy. Magnemite I've actually kind of seen a lot of, and it's a little scary because of things like Discharge, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Flash Cannon, and a few other moves that are actually surprisingly quite terrifying. So again, we're going to immediately lead with Litten. And I feel like a double fake out could be useful here. I'm actually going to run Litten and Cleffa as our leads, and then going in with Sneasel and Abra in the back. Okay, so it's Inner Focus Sneasel, so faking out isn't going to matter. So we can fake out Magnemite and protect on Cleffa. Okay, so we got switched out. We're likely going to be hit by something like Thunderbolt from Magnemite. So I guess we can go to Abra. Yeah, Thunderbolt. It's surprising that it takes out. So I'm going to use Dynamax automatically, and then we're going to Reflect. We're going to max Knuckle on the Sneasel and hopefully take it out one hit. And then Reflect in hopes that we can survive some physical damage. Okay, so switch out to Scraggy to get the Intimidate. Choppleberry. Max Knuckle. Oh, that didn't knock out, which is really unfortunate because we are going to know. Never mind. They're actually going to go for Cleffa, which is perfectly fine. That's not perfectly fine, though. So all we have is a Litten to attack with, which means we have lost this game, unfortunately. So we're just going to leave that and just not even wait the rest of the game. So a lot of the issue came from the fact that, again, Magnemite is surprisingly terrifying. It has so many utility moves that it could work with. It can spread status. It can take on multiple targets at the same time with things like Discharge and Electro Web. But it also has stuff like Flash Cannon that can be really, really dangerous against a lot of threats such as Sneasel. So it's definitely something to always look out for. It's good to always have Litten on hand because Litten can always take on Magnemite better than just about any other Pokemon can. So once we get into a game, we'll be right back, I guess. So I've just been sitting here for quite a while, just kind of waiting. So I'm not getting any other games, so unfortunately I can't really show you the entirety of the rest of this team. But I really hope that you did enjoy the game that I did get to show off some of these Pokemon in. I do think that there's still a lot of potential with a few of these. Like, I feel like Cleffa is definitely one that a lot of people are sleeping on. Despite the fact that it has absolutely terrible defenses, I do feel like the Eviolite Friend Guard with like Protect is definitely a great strategy to work with, and definitely has a lot of potential as a uh, really decent uh, build, and would work really well as a supporter to much of what uh, some of these teams may need. But that being said, that is all that I have here for you for this video. Uh, Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.